Hey, what's up everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we're doing the what's next on Edgar Berlanga, the undefeated super middleweight contender following his first TKO in 5 fights as he stopped Pradraig McCrory on the on February 24th on DAZN. Now, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So, Berlanga, you know, a good win. He's knocking on the door now to something bigger. And, you know, the big question is what's next now? What does he do next? We know, you know, him and Canelo have been linked, but I think he's about one step away from being eligible for a Canelo fight. Canelo looks like he's locking it up with Jaime Munguia next. So, right away we take Canelo off the table for Berlanga. I don't see that one as an option. Let's run through the rest of the top 10 though and see what could be possible for Berlanga right now. We start with David Benavidez. Now, if Berlanga wanted this smoke, he could probably get it. But I don't think Eddie Hearn would want to match Berlanga against Benavidez next. You know, Eddie Hearn would have to work with the PBC, which I don't think he'd be completely opposed to, but it's a tough fight for Berlanga to jump into, and I just don't see Eddie Hearn risking Berlanga against Benavidez right now. I just don't see it. Then there's Caleb Plant, another PBC guy. Another fight that I think Berlanga might be out of his depth. Caleb Plant's a very good boxer. He packs a little punch too. I think he just might be a level above where Eddie Hearn wants Berlanga to fight right now. Because some of these guys I don't think Eddie Hearn would want to risk if a potential Canelo fight is in Berlanga's future. Then there's Jaime Munguia. If Munguia for some reason does not get the fight with Canelo for May, which it looks very likely for him, I would think this would be an ideal opponent for Edgar Berlanga next. But again, I just don't see him getting this fight because it looks like Munguia is good to go for Canelo on May 4th. But we'll see. We'll see what happens if that fight were to fall through. We'll see. Then there's, well, there's not John Ryder anymore. John Ryder officially announced his retirement from boxing, so he's out of the mix now. Then you got Sergey Derevyanchenko, and I'll tell you right now, I think this could be the opponent for Edgar Berlanga. Derevyanchenko's with Golden Boy, and Berlanga's with Matchroom. If the two come together, because it's an easy fight to make for DAZN, if they can come together for this showdown, then I really believe this is a live fight, and it's a great test for Berlanga. Derevyanchenko wanted the rematch with Munguia. Now Munguia's moving on to Canelo. Well, Berlanga was interested in a fight with Munguia. Munguia is likely fighting Canelo. And it doesn't look like Berlanga, I don't think he's an option for Canelo in September. It could be, but I don't think Canelo would probably fight him in September. So, would Canelo fight, would Berlanga and Derevyanchenko get together? And I think this is the fight Eddie Hearn should push for right here, because you're going to see if Berlanga is ready for that next level. Derevyanchenko would be the bar and the guy to go through for that. So I do think this fight's a very real possibility. Then, next is David Morrell Jr., the undefeated WBA super middleweight regular champion. So, here's the kicker. Berlanga has moved to the #1 position in the WBA right now, which means if the WBA ordered a mandatory fight, it would be Morrell versus Berlanga. So would Eddie Hearn and Matchroom be down to fight the guy that everybody's saying is being avoided in David Morrell? Interesting matchup. I'm leaning towards the less likely, but I also wouldn't completely rule it out. So I do think there's a possibility here. But I don't think it's a high possibility, so I'm going to lean towards the no on this one. Then there's Demetrius Andrade, the former 2-division world champion. I really think Andrade, when he returns, he's going to return at middleweight. He's also technically with the PBC, and I don't think Eddie Hearn and Matchroom would want Berlanga to go in against a guy with Andre's style anyways. I think it's kind of a bad matchup, so I don't see it. Then there's Christian Mabili, the undefeated top-rated contender. I think this is a great fight to make for both guys. I mean, both guys are kind of right there, undefeated, all-action fighters, and I think it would be another fight that would make a lot of sense. But Mabili has ties with Top Rank, Eddie Hearn's with DAZN and Matchroom. Would the two sides be willing to come together to make this fight? Right now, I got to lean towards the less likely, but it's a great fight to make, and I definitely think it's possible, because I think these guys really want Canelo, and some of these guys might be willing to go through each other, kind of the way David Benavidez did with Andre, to try to earn that fight. And I definitely think this fight could be possible for Berlanga against Mabili, so we'll see. And that pretty much rounds out my top 10 right there. I don't see a ton of guys, you know, like Eric Bazinian from Canada is a number 2 contender in the WBA. Would Berlanga want to fight him to mandate the WBA shot? You know, McCrory was number 3. You got Yoel Hernandez is the WBA's number 4. And then Bektamir Melikuziev is the number 6. Another good guy that is with DAZN that would be a good matchup, but I'm not sure what Eddie Hearn is willing to risk to match him up. So if it were me, if it were a top 10 guy, I think Sergey Derevyanchenko makes a ton of sense for Berlanga next. I think it's what Eddie Hearn should push for. I think it's the matchup, again, that makes the most sense. But these two sides got to be willing to come together. I think they would be. Does Eddie Hearn want to match Berlanga against Derevyanchenko? I think he might. And then I think Christian Mabili is the other option that makes sense. And if he's ready to go big or go home, David Benavidez, Caleb Plant, and David Morrell Jr. are right there. So we'll see. But I'm very interested in seeing what Berlanga does next, because I do believe it has to be a step up if he wants to be considered for Canelo. So that's it. That's what I got. That's my what's next on undefeated super middleweight contender right now, Edgar Berlanga. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.